normally like to tell myself that everything is going fine, even when it isn't. But if I'm being real, if I lost my parents tomorrow, I'd be in a pretty bad situation. I don't have what most people would call a stable job, and according to my parents, that's a huge problem. That brings me to something I wanted to talk about for a while. I hate corporate jobs. I hate. I hate them. I hate them, man. I hate them. Now, before anyone gets offended, hear me out. If you genuinely enjoy your 9 to 5, that's great. This isn't me saying everyone should quit their job. I'm only talking about my experience. I worked a corporate job before, and it was probably the most depressing period of my life. One of the weirdest things about working there was how people judged me before they even got to know me. I'm 6 foot 2, and for some reason, people assumed I had everything figured out. They expected me to be this confident, outgoing guy who was probably dating multiple girls. The reality couldn't have been more different. I'm actually a pretty quiet and reserved person. I mostly kept to myself. I remember one day a female coworker asked me, "Do you have girlfriends?" I was so confused and asked, "What do you mean by girlfriends?" She said, like, "How many girls are you dating?" I laughed and told her I'd never even had a girlfriend before. She looked at me like I was joking. She said, "No way, you're lying." I actually had to convince her that I'd never been in a relationship. It was funny at first, but it also made me realize how quickly people create an image of you based on only on how you look. Things only got worse after that. I always felt like my shift manager had already made up her mind about me, whether it was because of misunderstandings or personal bias. I honestly don't know, but no matter what I did, my performance evaluations were consistently marked lower than I felt they deserved. I was always early to work. I completed my tasks. I stayed out of trouble. Yet somehow my KPIs still came back as poor. Eventually, I decided to resign. Could I have fought it? Maybe. But honestly, by that point, I didn't even want to stay. The job itself was draining. My workplace was around 17 kilometers from home, and every day I had to take two buses just to get there. By the time I got home, I had enough energy to eat, sleep, and repeat the whole process again the next day. It didn't feel like I had a life outside of work. What made it even harder was the environment. We were constantly monitored through CCTV, and there was an unwritten rule that you weren't supposed to talk to your coworkers. People were actually warned or even fired for talking too much. That was completely different from my previous internship as a mechanical engineer. Back then, we had freedom. Managers would check on our progress, but they trusted us to do our jobs. It felt like we were treated like adults. This corporate job felt completely different. Every minute felt like someone was watching you. It was exhausting. Looking back, I don't think I hated working. I hated feeling like I had no control over my life. I hated spending hours commuting just to come home, too tired to enjoy anything. I hated feeling judged by people who didn't even know me. Maybe some companies have amazing work cultures. Maybe I just had a terrible first experience. Either way, it taught me something important. The environment you work in can matter just as much as the paycheck. Anyway, this video turned into more of a personal rant than I expected. But maybe some of you have gone through something similar. If you have, let me know in the comments. I'd genuinely like to hear your experiences.